Five Nights at Freddy's. You know this game. Everybody knows this game. But what people don't know is really the story. I mean, it's so complex that we've never truly understood everything this story has been trying to tell us. It's been left to the fans to piece things together and figure all of this extra lore out, which isn't a bad thing. But today's video isn't discussing the lore and trying to solve all the secrets this game contains. This video is dedicated to ranking the first 6 games in this franchise, and I really want to talk to you all about it. This video will strictly only talk about Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through Pizzeria Simulator, just because there are a lot of extra games that, I just really don't want to rank in today's video, as they are a whole different topic and conversation. I just don't want to get into it. I want to stick to the first 6, the ones that truly matter in my own opinion. I don't think the other ones matter just as much as these, so that's why they're being excluded, alright? Also, just a warning guys, there will be a lot of hot takes in this video, so if you don't agree with something I say, don't come attacking me in the comments. Just comment down your own opinion, and maybe we can have a discussion down in the comments below. I always find these things interesting, just to see how people really feel about certain things when other people feel a different way. So, coming in to the number 6 spot, and I know a lot of people might be angry when I say this, but Five Nights at Freddy's 4 has to be on the number 6 spot in today's video. A lot of you all are probably wondering why I lifted it so high, but there's some good reasons for that. Don't worry. So one of the reasons I have to say that this is probably one of the worst games of the entire series is not because it's not in any way scary. This game is terrifying, and that's a really good thing, right? It captures this horror genre really, really well, and also the ambience in this game is absolutely outstanding. But I'd be lying if I told you I love this game, because I don't, and I just think this game does not really do well for Five Nights at Freddy's as a whole. When you look at the gameplay, it relies a lot on hearing, and that already is a really big issue, because you can't rely too much on just visible cues that you can see. There's no cameras for you to know if someone's approaching. You have to listen for footsteps. And if you have played the game, you probably ran into the issue where you couldn't hear these footsteps or even hear the breathing of the animatronics at the door. So it resulted in you getting this really, really loud jump scare that's probably going to hurt your ears, which absolutely is terrible. Gameplay-wise, this game is one of the worst FNAF games ever made. I mean, it just doesn't do good at all. All it does is hurt your ears, and it's just really, really, in my opinion, kind of lazy just for you to have to rely on hearing. Like, what about the people who are deaf? I don't know if there's a port for that, but like, they literally could not play the game. Besides having the game rely on hearing, there are some good things that come out of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, such as the story. We had so much lore given to us in this game, and I really appreciate what they did. We got the bite of 83, I want to say, not 87, I think it was 83, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty sure it's that. But we got to learn about who this crying child was, and we got to see Fredbear's Diner. We got to just understand a bit more of what happened in, previous years of the Five Nights at Freddy's history, something we never really touched too much on. And I really love this story that they give us. And there's just so many new theories that formed around this time, saying like, oh, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 3 are all just like a dreamlife sequence. And yeah, there was a lot of wild theories that came out around FNAF 4, but they wouldn't have been possible without this game. Mini games were also really, really cool to see, seeing how the crying child, gets bullied by his brother, seeing the bite of 83 happen inside the minigame. I just absolutely love the minigames. I think they're the best part of FNAF 4, and yeah. I mean, that says a lot about the game if it relies on minigames to make it in any way actually good. I just don't think, it was, amazing. I mean, if you watch YouTubers' playthroughs, even they say that they can't talk too much, and that's what people go to watch videos for. They want to watch their favorite YouTuber. You want to watch and listen to them, talk about the game, express their opinions, thoughts as they go. But a lot of them couldn't do that during their playthrough because they have to listen, and if they're talking, they're gonna miss things and they're going to die. Horrible deaths. Another thing I just kind of missed was a phone guy. He was a huge staple in the first 3 games, and they kind of just got rid of him in FNAF 4, and it makes sense as to why they did. But, I'm just saying, if I could have done FNAF 4 differently, I would have. But let's gonna go ahead and just give my wrap up of why it's in the number 6 spot, and we'll go ahead and move to the number 5. Pizzeria Simulator is going to be taking the number 5 spot in today's video, and I know that's a really big hot take because the story that was told within Pizzeria Simulator, how it ties up the loose ends, and it really had a beautiful conclusion to what we thought would be the end of Five Nights at Freddy's. But, you know, like FNAF 4, the gameplay just isn't too great, and I know, you know, that is a hot take. People did enjoy Pizzeria Simulator, but for me personally, I did not. I didn't like having to build my own pizzeria. I thought that was cool, and, you know, there wasn't anything wrong with it, but I just wasn't too much a fan of it. It's not my kind of thing. And then obviously The Office, where you have to look into the vents, it's very unreliable, I feel, and it's just really, really difficult. There's like this huge challenge that comes with Pizzeria Simulator, and if you're not like perfect on everything, it's just not going to work out. I have tried countless times, and maybe it's a skill issue, but I just can't beat the game. It's genuinely one of those FNAF games that just stops me and I can't get past it. I think doing tasks throughout the night is a good idea, but like I said, you rely a lot on audio cues instead of visual cues in this game, as hearing things in the vents coming closer. There are things to defend yourself, such as motion detectors and just audio lures that you can use on the animatronics, which that is cool. But like I said, it's just a lot of hearing that is relied on inside this game, which is why, you know, it's in such a low ranking for me and why I just don't really like it too much. But apart from just gameplay and just things I don't like too much, there are things I love, such as the characters. I think the animatronics are cool. I like seeing Scrap Trap, you know, Scrap a Baby, Molten Freddy. I love seeing Lefty. Lefty's one of my favorite animatronics. He's just super, super cool. The story told here is just absolutely beautiful, and it's such a nice ending with Henry. And, you know, I think it's just so cool that there's also multiple endings, you know. That's something that I think a lot of video games don't do too much because, you know, it can overcomplicate things. But I think when they do it, it makes the game way better and more replayable. In this game, we also got the introduction to the Rockstar animatronics. But you want to know something funny? We do not have to fight off against them at all, because the only animatronics we fight against are the ones I just mentioned. You know, I don't understand why you have all these cool new animatronics added just for them not to actually be, you know, the people you have to fend off against. And there are some cases in which they do, but that's like just basically like Lefty. So it's another complaint I have. It's just, you know, these really cool animatronics, and they don't really play a huge part into the game. They're just there to, you know, make your pizzeria look cool. Yay! Moving into the next thing I want to talk about with Pizzeria Simulator has to be that kind of interview room. It is so good. This is the game that really stands out from the others because of this one sequence alone. I love having to sit across from an animatronic in a really dark lit up room and, you know, just listen, watch to see if they move, and mark it down, tase them if they get too hostile. It is such a anxiety-driven moment in the game. It's really scary, and it just really keeps you on the edge of your seat, trying to pay attention for any kind of detail, and I love that. There are visible cues that are given. You don't have to rely on hearing, and I think that's a really, really good move. Also, the noises that play are also really, really scary. It's just all a really, really, really sorry, a really great experience overall with that one sequence. And it happens almost every night with a new animatronic. If you choose to salvage them, they will attack you the next night, and you can let them go. It just really depends on what you think to do. That's going to go ahead and wrap up the number 5 spot in today's video. Now let's go ahead and go straight to number 4. Coming into the number 4 spot in today's video is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now look, I love Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It's one of my more favorite FNAF games just because of all the characters and the amount of fun you have playing this. The phone guy is amazing. The lore that you actually get is also really cool. The animatronic designs are just top tier. But let me tell you why it's just not ranked as high as you would hope it would be, right? There's only one issue, or two issues actually, I have with this game. The first one being the use of cameras. Cameras were a huge part in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but when it came to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, though there were a lot of cameras and a lot of cool things you can see on the cameras if you took the time to look, such as Shadow Freddy, Shadow Bonnie, or just some rare character poses that you'll see in the cameras, you'll notice that the cameras are pretty much irrelevant in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This time around, you have to wind up a music box to make sure the puppet doesn't get out to come kill you. And, that's a good mechanic. I love that. But the thing that makes it bad is it makes you rely on just that one camera, or not even rely, it just means that that's the only camera you need to pay attention to, while the other ones don't matter. Like, if you don't look at any of the other cameras, all the animatronics basically attack you in the same way other than Foxy, so there's really no need for you to check cameras, which already takes a huge portion of what the game's about, and it takes it away from you because there's just no reason to utilize these cameras you're given. It just kind of kills you if you were to do that, which is why any playthrough you see, no one really looks at the cameras, they just look at the marionettes, the puppet, whatever you want to say, and then, they go to the office, put the mask on immediately, if there's an animatronic, and then they flash Foxy away. So Foxy's the only one that actually has kind of like originality to his mechanic, along with the puppet. So credit to him, But also, another complaint I have is that it's not scary. This game, to me, focuses way more on just being a challenging game, just to test, can you survive these 5 nights, rather than can you survive these 5 nights. The first game had this scary feeling to it, and this game just didn't really have it. It feels a lot more brighter, and it really just feels like, we're just going to put them through living hell. We're going to have all these animatronics and just see how well they can fend for themselves, but we're just not going to make it too scary. We'll have the jump scares, of course, but that's kind of it. So that's another complaint I have with this game. It's a really, really fun one, and I absolutely love it, like I said. I just wish, it was a little more scarier, and, animatronics kind of acted different to each other. Like, almost all of them, I want to say like 90% of them, could be wrong, but roughly around there, all play the exact same, offering no originality and just no change in your strategy at all throughout the nights. There was some story revealed to us during here. We had some really weird cutscenes going on, and they didn't tell us too much, but they were really nice, as they did give us just enough to make more theories and just try to uncover what the lore behind Five Nights at Freddy's 2 even is. At this point, we were kind of getting it, but we just weren't quite there, not yet. We knew about the purple guy in this game, which opened up a lot of doors. This is also where we hear about the bite of 87. Or, well, where more theories came in about it, saying how an animatronic at this establishment bit someone. That obviously made a lot more theories go around. Overall, this game is really, really good, and I would recommend playing it if you haven't. It does offer a really good challenge, while still, being that classic Five Nights at Freddy's experience before you go into others that just completely kind of take a different turn, and you'll see what I mean in a second here. But, yep, that is why it's in the number 4 spot today. It's really, really fun, don't get me wrong. I love the challenge, I love the animatronics, I love the story that we're given, but just because it's not scary and it doesn't utilize the cameras, which is a huge staple of the game, is why it has to be ranked where it is. So let's go ahead and move to number 3.
There's no doubting what you've achieved on a technical level. These are clearly state-of-the-art. There are just certain design choices that were made for these robots that we don't fully understand. We were hoping that you could shed some light on those.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Ah, here we are. Sister Location. Yep, it is number 3 in today's video, which you could probably guess what number 1 and 2 will be. But before we get there, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have a lot to discuss about Sister Location because, honestly, there is just so much this game gives, and you have to give it credit for that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Just when you thought the series was over with Five Nights at Freddy's 4, Scott Cawthon decides to be, you know what, no, Sister Location. So here we are, where we get even more confusing lore, whole new ideas opened up to us, and, some more stuff on William Afton and also Mike. This game does so much for the story that I absolutely have to love it, and I love everything it does to change how we knew Five Nights at Freddy's as a whole. One change you'll immediately discover while playing this game is that there is no main office for you. You go to different areas inside this establishment, completing different objectives, which is a huge twist on Five Nights at Freddy's as a whole. We never did this before, and this is something entirely new to us, while also giving us brand new things to look at, new story updates, and also brand new characters, which, might I say, are terrifying. One of my most favorite parts about this game is the Freddy, or Funtime Freddy sequence, in which you have to power up the entire establishment while having Funtime Freddy on your back. You can use Bonbon to lure him away, but he'll still be hearing you as you try to complete your objective. Now guys, before I even talk more about this game, it's unfortunate I have to wrap up today's video because PlayStation doesn't allow me to, have a lot of voice clips added into this Share Factory studio I use to make my videos, right? So they limit how much I can actually talk. It's about 18 minutes, so I'm going to have to just wrap up today's video. I'll make a part 2, which I'll talk about the last 2 games while it's still talking about this one, just so you all know the full picture here. But so far, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I really hope that you guys just kind of see the way I see things, and if y'all don't agree, that's totally okay. But I just hope you all enjoyed today's video in the end. So take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow.